I'm going to teach you a marketing strategy right now that will change your business. This single strategy, when properly deployed, can help you generate more customers, increase your revenue, and make you untouchable to your competition. It's not easy. In fact, it's hard and tiring and frustrating even at the best of times, but I assure you it's well worth the sacrifice. This strategy has changed my life and my business and the way that I look at marketing, and I know that it can do the same for you. There's no shortage online of wild and outrageous claims of different marketing hacks and business tricks and all sorts of strategies that claim they can help you grow a bigger and better and more profitable business almost overnight. The problem with these is that few, if any, actually end up delivering on the promise. So you're left feeling kind of empty, kind of ripped off, and wondering what you actually need to do in order to generate better results for your business or for your idea or whatever it is you're trying to promote. So if you've been burned before, I get it. And sadly, you're not alone. But I'm not going to let you down here. Because the strategy that I'm talking about here has worked for all sorts of different businesses from every different market and industry, and I know it can work for yours too. It's not sexy, it's not new, but it's battle tested and has proven itself time and time again. And that strategy is content. It's almost unfair to call content marketing a strategy because when you look at marketing, when you look at advertising, when you look at any kind of promotion, pretty much everything is content. Whether we're talking about writing a Facebook ad or creating an Instagram post or writing out some key points to talk about in a YouTube video or basically any kind of marketing whatsoever, it all stems back to content. But simply saying content isn't enough, and it's not enough to just go out there and create content or to even know in the back of your mind that creating content is something that you need to be doing. So I really want to drill down and help you discover the strategies behind it and the actual tactics that are going to enable you to really succeed with this really underrated strategy. Because no matter what business or what market or what industry you're in, it's your ability to communicate value. It's your ability to influence customers, and it's your ability to persuade prospects or potential customers that you are the best one or your business is the best business and the solution to their problems. And the way you do that is with content, specifically strategic content that is designed to communicate value to the customer. So if this is the case and your success is predicated on your ability to create content, then it's naturally going to stem that we're going to need two different types of strategies or approaches here. We're going to need more content and we're going to need better content. So let's look at each of those now. First, let's talk about creating more content. Probably no surprise here, but people love content. They love consuming it, and just looking at the statistics and different social media usage, well, it's pretty obvious to see that people are consuming a whole lot of content. They're spending hours a day on social media, streaming live video, and consuming all of the content they can get their hands on. But it gets even better, because not only do humans like content, but the algorithms and the machines and the social media networks that actually feed the humans the content, oh, it sounds kind of creepy, but they love content too. After all, the algorithms, which are powering the machines, which are essentially the social media networks, well, they're businesses, and their entire business model is predicated on having a ton of content on them that their users and their audience can actually consume. So they want you to create as much content as possible too. Also, a common myth when it comes to creating content, specifically for social media platforms, is that everyone believes that the social media platforms are against them and they're trying to throttle their content and they're trying to limit their reach, when really nothing could be further from the truth. The social media platforms want you to succeed. They want to give you the greatest likelihood of success so that you'll create more content. But they also have an audience to serve, which is why they want to make sure that they're serving up the best and most relevant and most useful, most entertaining content to the right people at the right time. So creating more is fantastic because everyone's going to be happier, whether it's the people that are consuming it or the algorithms that are trying to serve it, but it also needs to be better. So let's talk about that now. First of all, when we're talking about better, you have to understand this is an incredibly subjective term, and you definitely cannot please all of the people all the time. And what's good to someone may be terrible to someone else. A great example here is the critiques that I get about the speed that I speak at. A lot of people say that I talk way too fast. Other people say that it's perfect, and some people even watch the videos on 1.5 or 2 times speed because they want to consume the content that much faster. So who's right? Well, again, it's completely subjective and it's based on the audience and the type of person and maybe even the mood that they're in, which is why when we're talking about creating better content, you want to do the best that you can, but at the end of the day, you really want to focus on creating more content because quality will come from quantity. There's a famous marketing study where they divided 2 different groups of students and they were making clay pots. Doesn't sound very marketing-y, but hear me out here. One of the groups was told that they were able to create as many pots as possible, and at the end of the semester, they were going to be judged on the best pot from all of the pots that they made. The other group, however, was told to spend the entire semester crafting the perfect pot, just one, and trying to make it the absolute best one that they possibly could. You probably see where I'm going with this, but at the end of the semester, the group that created the absolute best pot were the group that was creating the ton of different pots, and they were able to select their best one from all of their different versions, and the group that spent the entire semester just crafting the perfect pot, well, it wasn't as good as one of the ones from the other groups. This is the way that I want you to think about content. Rather than spending all day, every day crafting that one single piece of perfect content, I want you to be able to create as much as you possibly can, because in that group, you're going to find your winners, and those winners are going to get amplified by the algorithms, and they're going to make sure that the right people see it at the right time. So now that we've got that covered, you might be wondering, well, is creating content enough? And sadly, due to the way that the algorithms work and the switches from organic to different paid media and everything we're going to talk about in just a second, no, creating content isn't enough. You also need promotion. So let's talk about that now. Due to today's hyper-competitive and way oversaturated social media networks, creating content and just putting it out there alone isn't enough. There's that great expression of build it and they will come. And the reality is this isn't true for content, it's not true for business, it's not true for marketing. I'm not sure it's true at all. I mean, I get the premise behind it, that in the end, the quality is going to win out and people are going to find you. But the reality is, especially in today's super saturated marketplace, with everybody crying and screaming for attention, you really have to do something to be heard above the noise and stand out above the crowd. This is why not only do you have to create content, you also need to have a strategic promotion, strategic distribution plan in order to make sure that you get your best content in front of your best people. And your best people being your best potential customers, the ones that love you, love what you do, want to tell everyone about you, and the ones that you actually want to serve and work with. So how do you do that? Well, you have two ways, like I alluded to just a second ago. You've got organic content and you have paid content, or rather, organic distribution and paid distribution. Let's talk about organic first. Organic simply means not paid, so free. Think about any time that you create some content and you make an Instagram post or a story or a Facebook post or upload a video to YouTube. Anytime that you're not putting money behind it in order to promote it, essentially not running ads, well, that's called organic content. Organic content is fantastic. It's a wonderful tool. It's great if you're just getting started, but it does have some serious limitations, especially on different platforms. Specifically, when we're talking about Facebook and Instagram, where they're at peak saturation and everybody is on there crying and screaming for attention, and they've only got one feed to show. So obviously competition is going to be high here, so the odds of getting your content in front of the right people are pretty slim. Other platforms, however, at least right now, well, they still have some decent organic opportunities, and I don't know how long this is going to last, but platforms like LinkedIn if you're serving the business crowd, or TikTok if you're serving a younger demographic, well, these are great places to get some decent organic reach, at least today. But this will go away. And that moves us on to the paid aspect. These are things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, basically anything where there's an advertisement after the word. What you're doing here is you're paying the platforms in order to promote your content and to put it in front of the right people. The benefits of a paid ads approach or paid traffic approach are multifold, but one of the biggest ones is the fact that you can target your ideal and perfect prospect, like their demographic details like age, gender, income, occupation, things like that, their geographic details like what city, state, province, or country they live in, and their psychographic details like what are their attitudes and interests and beliefs and organizations or groups that they're a part of. You can get really focused and dial in on exactly who you want to see your content and then only market your stuff to them. The other benefit of paid traffic is that it enables you to scale very quickly. With organic traffic, you're kind of relying on the algorithm to show your content to who they think it's best for. But with paid traffic, you can pay the money and they'll do pretty much what you tell them to. It was years ago that I first unlocked the true power of this combination of creating content and promoting it with paid traffic. I remember I was mowing the lawn and I kept feeling my phone buzz in my pocket. You know when you get that sort of phantom vibrating sound and phantom feeling and you think your phone's going, but it's not really? Anyway, that kept happening. So finally I was like, all right, I gotta figure out what's going on here. So I lifted up my phone and sure enough, I had 3 new leads that had just come in just like that. This was in the early days of my business, and 3 new leads all at once was a pretty big deal. So I had to figure out what had happened and how was this working. Sure enough, when I finished mowing the lawn and went back into the office, I checked it out, and what had happened is that I had written a pretty basic blog post a couple days before, and then I'd run a few very simple Facebook ads with it at around $5, maybe $10 a day, targeting the people that I wanted to see it. They saw the content, liked it, reached out, and one of the 3 became a client, which dramatically increased my revenue for that month and ended up putting my business into a really solid position moving forward. Not to mention, it sort of unlocked something, and I started to realize just how powerful creating content and then amplifying it or promoting it with paid traffic really could be. So with all that said, you might be wondering, well, what kind of content should you be creating? And what kind of content is going to give you the biggest bang for your marketing buck? So let's tackle that now. When it comes to creating content for your business, you've got 3 different types that you can leverage. You've got video, you've got audio, and you've got text, or just words. Technically, you also have images for some other platforms, but even then, you're going to need to write a caption, so let's lump that into the words part too. Now, each different content modality, whether we're talking about video or audio or text, they're all going to have different benefits, and they're all going to have, well, some of them lesser weaknesses, but they're all going to have a little bit of drawbacks. First, let's talk about video. Video is easily my preference, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but with a video, obviously the downside is that you're going to need to do some kind of video. So if you don't want to be on camera, well then you're going to need to find someone to be on camera, or you're going to need to do some kind of animation or cartoon, which could potentially take a lot of time, energy, and money. Audio is great if you don't want to be on camera and you still want to reach a large audience with a pretty solid message, because it allows you to cram a whole lot of information into a pretty small period of time. Plus, it allows people to engage and consume content wherever they are and whenever they want to listen to it. And then of course you have text-based content. You could think of social media posts, you can think of blog articles, basically anything with words. Text-based content is still really solid and still really effective today, and it's often underrated in favor of audio and video, which kind of gets all the flashy and sort of hypey stuff about it. After all, writing a blog post doesn't sound sexy until it starts getting you results. The key with choosing which kind of platform or which kind of modality is going to be best for you is very individual and very specific to your market and to your industry, but you really can't go wrong by using any one of them. All of them are powerful, and all of them are going to enable you to communicate your message and really be relevant and resonate with your ideal market. That said, if I did have to steer you in one direction, it would be pretty easy to push you in the direction of video for one simple reason. With a video, you're able to do a number of really cool things with it. For starters, you can take that video content and you can put it on pretty much any different social media network, whether we're talking about YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. All of them love video and they all want a whole lot more video content. But it gets better, because you can take the video and you can strip away the audio, and now you can use this audio as a podcast for basically no extra work. And it gets even better than that, because you can then take that audio and you can strip away or transcribe and get text-based content from it. So now essentially, you film a video, you get a podcast from it, and you've also got all sorts of different blog posts and social media posts from everything that you just recorded. Whatever your content preference, just know that creating content is one of the most valuable things you can do for your business, which is why the next thing you're going to want to do is check out the playlist I have linked up right here on Epic Content Marketing. So check that out now, and I'll see you in the next episode. This is why it's so incredibly important to hook them fast right at the very beginning by A, letting them know who this is for, and B,